My kitty cat came to church today. I told you no matter who you are or where you are on life's journey, you are welcome. Welcome to all the saints, even kitty cat saints, on All Saints Day. So, during the past few weeks, we have been sharing a series which is titled Mind the Gap. And it is a series where we have been noticing the gaps and the intersections, which are part of our sacred seasons and sacred stories and sacred circles, which we share with our neighbors. We began the series a few weeks ago with a look at a cluster of sacred days which are now upon us. There's the Celtic celebration of Samhain and its connection with Halloween. There are the Christian commemorations of All Souls Day and All Saints Day. And then there's also the Mexican celebration of Dia de los Muertos, or the Day of the Dead. Truth be told, there were a lot of gaps in my understanding of the intersections and the connections among these holy days. I'm grateful to have learned some of what they have in common. It has not only closed the gaps in my understanding, but it's also done away with some of the separations and the divisions which I've experienced with my neighbors. So, one of the things that these sacred days have in common, which has made a difference for me, is learning that each of these days began as a way to name and notice, honor, remember, and pray for loved ones who have left this life and moved into the next life, the life beyond. In addition to having that as the purpose, these set of holy days share this particular time of year, this sacred season, when the days are becoming shorter and the nights are becoming longer. And why it is this time of year is chosen is because there is a set of shared beliefs that during this particular time of year, the veils of separation, the veils of separation between life and death and earth and heaven become thinner, thinner, and thinner until they eventually disappear. I think that's fascinating. One of the most liberating and life-changing lessons that we have shared was learning about the Mexican traditions, which are centered in the Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos. These lessons have really shifted my understanding of how to honor the saints because they invite in levity and feasting and music and celebration. Now, for me, it's part of a space where I might otherwise have focused on loss, sadness, and grief. So I'm grateful for this expanding horizon, this expanded understanding. With all that said, it is not our intention to appropriate or misappropriate any other cultural tradition. We are not having our own Day of the Dead celebration. What we are doing is creating our own table of remembrance. And we're doing it by moving and removing some boundaries, interweaving ancient and new traditions, and by expanding definitions. So take a deep breath, it'll all be okay. Trust me when I say our church and the two denominations which we represent are really, really good at doing this kind of stuff. We have a long, rich history of redefining, removing boundaries, moving boundaries, and then moving them again. You can see it in our commitment to using inclusive language. That's one shining example. Another is our shared statement of faith. Both are invitations to do differently, to think differently, to think deeply, to ask questions, to express doubt, to figure out for ourselves what the spirit of holiness is really about. So if you want more information on inclusive language or the statement of faith, let me know. Or look in the New Century Hymnal, because there's, at the opening of the hymnal, there's an article about inclusive language. Back of the hymnal, you will find the statement of faith. So with all this in mind, one of the biggest and probably most deeply embedded boundaries, which we are currently pushing against, moving and removing, is the boundary of either or thinking. Either or thinking is the grand creator of separations and divisions. These are the boundaries which say we are either a sinner or we're a saint. We're either going to heaven or we're not. We're either in or we're out. We're either saved or we're not. I welcome you, dear saints, to the land of both and. Because our shared reality is we are a mix of both. We are sinner and we are saint. And it's true of us and it's true of all who have gone before us. And it's true because we are all God's children. Every single one of us have been created in the image of the creative, life-giving energy of love. In the words of the apostle, see what love has lavished on us, that we should all be called the children of God. And in the realm of God, in the ways of heaven, all means all. In 1 John chapter 3, verses 1 through 3, the apostle goes on to say, the reason the world struggles to recognize this is because the world struggles to recognize God. Akika and Kathy are here today to share special music. Well, they're not here. They'll be at church for in-person worship. But I think they can help us with this struggle in recognizing God.